Poetry, whether you're live or on the replay, my friends on the replay. I am excited that you're here. I hope that you will comment, listen carefully, or listen with love and joy about the poems that we're going to share. Um, I tell you, I just got the doggies here in this place fed. I know that sometimes Pomeranians and Cavapoos think they're pit bulls. I actually have a 150-pound Bernese Mountain Dog here, who is the most gentle giant dog I've ever known. And he loves to cuddle, and he's really a lot of fun to have in my life. But I had to get them fed before I came on to give you all poetry. And the Cavapoo, other known as Cooper, is slower eating. And so I have to like watch over him while he eats so that the moose named George won't. Somebody must be walking by the house. I can't control that. Anyway, all right. Hopefully they'll stop. Okay, so we are going to start with a poem. I've read through this book. This is a collection by Ada Limon. She edited it. You might remember her. She was our former poet laureate. And so we are going to read a poem called We Love in the Only Ways We Can. That's what we're going to kick off with. I've color coded all the poems. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Um, I tried to put them in an order that makes sense, that you will all enjoy. And so we're going to start with Carl Phillips' poem, We Love in the Only Ways We Can. If while you're listening, if you have, hi, Em, good to Miss Em, so good to see you. I can focus now. I might put them outside. I might, in fact, I think I will. So I'll read this one poem, then I'll put them outside. Okay. What's the point now of crying? When you've cried already, he said, as if he'd never thought or been told, and perhaps he hadn't. Write down something that doesn't have to matter that still matters to you. Though I didn't know it then, those indeed were the days. Random corners, around one of which on that particular day, a colony of bees, bound by instinct, swarmed low to the ground, so as not to abandon the wounded queen, trying to rise, not rising from the strip of dirt where nothing had ever thrived, really, except in clumps, the grass here and there that we used to call cowboy grass. I guess for its toughness, stubborn, almost steadfast, though that's a word I learned early, each time the hard way, not to use too easily. I really like the line, write down something that doesn't have to matter, that still matters to you. And that made me think of how I think all of us have things like that, things that matter to us that don't seem to matter to anyone else, that we nonetheless really care about and really love. Hey guys, you want to go outside? You want to go outside so you can bark as much as you want? That's a whole different kind of poetry. There you go. I'm hopeful that tomorrow we will have sunshine for the timeout on the deck because if you've seen the deck before, you know how beautiful it is out there. So, something that matters to me was getting the dogs fed before y'all came on. All right. The next poem is by Ellen Bass. Um, excuse me. I'd like to say welcome so far. I know who's here. Some of you. I know that Miss M is here. I know that Ninja's here. I know that Kay and Roe are here. Labs are big dogs. Oh, Miss M has a black lab? Did you say a black lab or yeah, black lab? I was raised with black labs, so um, I'm really excited to know about your black lab. What's your black lab's name? Yeah, the dogs and have their own poem. They very well could. I should write them poems while I'm here. A poem for George and a poem for Cooper. I made a video this morning where Cooper was the star, because Cooper's also a cuddle bunny. And the problem is that his little tag shows. And so if I can find a blur out thing, so I can blur out the information on his tag, I will put that video up in a short. It's really cute. Cooper purges anyway. Okay, so we are going to read a poem by one of my favorite poets. Her name is Ellen Bass, and she wrote a poem called Lighthouse. Now, I love lighthouses, I truly love lighthouses. They're right up there with bridges, which I also love. And this poem is reminded me of how much I really love little children, and it could also be for animals. So here we go. Lighthouse. It's late, and I'm pushing the baby in the stroller through the lighthouse field. The grasses give off damp straw smell of darkness coming on. Walk, the baby commands. So I unbuckle the strap and I set her down. It's February 1st, and the ground's still swollen from the atmospheric rivers that flooded California. We were up till 4 in the morning with sump pumps and sandbags, schlepping every sopping towel and blanket and bathrobe while the baby slept in her crib. There are no cars here in the field, so she can have a little sovereignty as she wanders behind me. And faintly, I hear her singing to herself, Twinkle, Twinkle, the whole song, like the diamond sky. She's almost 2. I'm 75. I won't be there when the worst of what's coming comes. I think about it and then I try not to think about it. And then I try to think because if we don't, but I can hardly grasp it. I mean, her in it, that tiny glint of her voice. Something starts to collapse. Love and dread are brethren, said a mystic woman in the Middle Ages. For a moment, the sun reclines on the bare branches of the maples. They're rinsed with gold, and the light is gone. The tree is itself again. It's time to return the baby to her father. The long beam of the lighthouse strobes the path. I put her in the stroller and I start walking fast. There's some really fun wordcraft in this poem. Um, that, poetry is really made to be heard, to be read aloud rather than to be read and silently. But some of these lines, we were up till 4 in the morning with sump pumps and sandbags, schlepping every sopping towel and blanket and bathrobe while the baby slept in her crib. Also, very good for people learning to enunciate clearly. Okay, the next poem also is about a tree. That poem, Lighthouse, had a tree. This poem by Jose Alvarez called You Must Be Present has a tree. I do have a prompt for this one. It is, what is the view from where you stand right now? What is the view from where you stand right now? And this is one that can be used at any time, any place you find yourself. And I added to the bottom, can you write it? Can you write that view? It doesn't have to be, if you hear this poem, you can see these aren't fancy words this poet is using. And so I hope you'll listen and think about that as you're looking out your window or looking at the tree in your yard or driving in your car, riding in the car, standing at your counter. Like right now, I'm sitting at a kitchen counter. What am I seeing? Here we go. You Must Be Present by Jose Alvarez. I say to myself, when the what wears all up in the how now, trees. I turn to the trees for relief and they say, nah, don't look at us. You don't even know our names. You don't even know the difference between an oak tree and a maple tree. It's true. My relationship with love, nature, money, fill in the blank, is like my relationship to weather. I only see it when it's pouring on my head. I'm sorry to the trees I grew up with. I didn't ask. I never learned or even wondered about their names, their families, their belongings. I only dreamed of me. Climbing onto their shoulders, honestly, I was a ladybug to them, only heavier and more annoying. Those trees I grew up with were generations older than me. They were practiced at living in a way I will never understand and will never imagine. All I could imagine was the view from their crown. Oak trees. They were oak trees with their own history of migration, rooted in Calumet City, like me. If I asked them for answers, I wouldn't have understood. Sunlight, water, sunlight, water, sunlight, water. Babies do get out of all the work, don't they? You Must Be Present by Jose Alvarez. I'm thinking, I'm seeing with my ears, and I'm hearing the dogs bark. The neighbors next door are probably like, why are they out here making all this noise? And I haven't had the chance to invite the neighbors to this live stream. I don't know if you can hear them. It's kind of funny. It won't be funny for long. All right. How about another tree poem? I know y'all are really, really wanting to hear tree poems. And this is another California poet named Dorianne Lau. And she is a Pulitzer Prize finalist. She has 12 collections of poems. And she's from Guess Where, Ninja, if you're still out there. Um, she lives in Richmond, California. Dorianne Lau does. Okay, this poem's called Redwoods. The first time I entered a forest, I saw the trees, of course, huddled together in rings, thin veils of mist between their branches, some dead but still standing, or fallen thigh bones on the desiccated floor. But I also saw the great buttery platters of fungus climbing like stepping stones up their shaggy trunks. Tzadi, each a different size, small to large or large to small, as if some rogue architect had been cocky enough to install them among the stunned trees, northern sides, leading up to the balcony of their 1-ton boughs. I was here to investigate my place among them, these giants. 3,000 years old, still here, living in my lifetime. I should have felt small, a mere human, petty in my clumsy boots, burrs in my socks, while these trees held a glossary of stars in their crowns, their heads up there in the croissant shaped clouds, the wisdom of the ages flowing up through from roots to branchlet, though rather I felt large inside my life, the sum of Jung's archetypes, the self, the shadow, the anima, the persona of my personhood, fully recognized and finally accepted, the nugget of my being, my shadow of plush light. I felt like I was climbing up those fungal discs towards something endless, beyond my birth and death, into my here-ness and nowness, the scent and silence overwhelming me, seeping back into my pores. You had to have been there to know such joy, fear intermingled, my limbs tingling, ancient, mute. Those last 5 lines. Into my here-ness and nowness, the scent and silence overwhelming me, seeping back into my pores. You have to have been there to know such joy, fear intermingled, my limbs tingling, ancient, mute. Wow. Thank you, Dorianne Lau from Richmond. That's in the Bay Area, which is near San Francisco, for those of you who don't know, in the East Bay. Also happens to be near where I myself was born in Concord, which is further east. Concord in California, not Concord in Massachusetts, which I would love to also live in. And now George is back. Cooper is back. He's like, I'm tired of being out there. Granny, I'm tired of being out there. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, Cooper. Okay, I'm going to walk over there. I was wondering if Pause and Plainola was going to show up because I have a beautiful poem about grief, but maybe I will save that. Maybe I'll do a short of that by itself. Maybe I'll do a short of that, Cooper. Here, let's see if I can get him in the picture. Maybe. I don't know what's harder, doing a live with dogs or with kids. Oh, wait. Something very important. He's come in and done his business, so. Oh, you want silence. Well, our louder friend is outside, Miss M, so it'll be quiet. It'll be more quiet. I understand that. I like silence too. Hi, everybody. Okay, here we go. We'll read a couple more poems and then I will relieve the neighbors of the noise. uh, just a minute, George. He probably sensed that Cooper was getting some food. All right, we're going to read. Let me see. B. Ferguson, Parkside and Ocean. Yeah, I think you'll like this one, Miss M. There is a kind of memory that feels somehow, suddenly, like a wound, though not always. Not until one wanders back and through the dark, damp alley, the only path toward home. Every place I have loved has forced me to leave. And then there is memory as one might always wish, bejeweled, like sugar on the tongue upon reentry. What is the name for the scent that whispers, Mother? The twanged hue of evening that gestures island, limestone, cane, spume, flatbush. I have sauntered away from everything that has called me kin now, as I have before. But in what little time we have left, let me remember you. Let me remember what lay beneath your weather, your snow-born streams, your troubled foliage, worship, convenience, heel and toe, old dream. Will either of us return to what we once were? To when? Parkside and Ocean by B. Ferguson. Mm, I think I'll read. Okay, this is a really short one, and it's by Ilya Kaminsky. Very short, and Ilya Kaminsky has a special place in my heart. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Miss B. Yes, dark, damp alleyway leading me home. Isn't that beautiful? Cooper, there's nothing there. Okay, so Ilya Kaminsky, I'm so sorry, you guys. Ilya Kaminsky um, is a poet. He was very busy on Twitter. A lot of poets were on Twitter quite a bit back in the day before it became a letter, like people who change their names to letters. But I would go on Twitter and look for good poets. And Ilya Kaminsky is one of the poets I found. And he is a professor at Princeton and very well known in many communities. And he's won many awards, including a Guggenheim Fellowship, a Whiting Award, the National Jewish Book Award, the LA Times Book Prize, and National Book Award. And this poem is called Letters. And the question, I'll read it through and then I'll read you the prompt and then I'll read the poem again. Very short. Letters. Rain, rain. Rain has eaten 1/4 of me, yet I believe, against all evidence, these raindrops are my letters of recommendation. Here is a man worth falling on. So, my question for you that you might want to journal or think about or talk about or ask your partners about, what makes us worth falling on? What makes us worth falling on? One more time with Ilya Kaminsky. Letters. Rain has eaten 1/4 of me, yet I believe, against all evidence, these raindrops are my letters of recommendation. Here is a man worth falling on. Ah. All right. So I think I'm going to read this poem that I really wanted to read for Paul's and Plainola. It's called Lullaby for the Grieving, and it's by Ashley Jones, who is the Poet Laureate of Alabama. So, Ninj, we had both a poem by someone from Richmond, California, where you know well as well like me, and Ashley Jones is the poet laureate of Alabama, which is very cool. Lullaby for the Grieving at the Sipsey River. Make small steps. In this wild place, there are signs of life everywhere, sharp spaces too. The slip of a rain glazed rock against my searching feet. Small steps like prayers, each one a hope exhaled into the trees. Please let me enter. Please let me leave whole. There are, too, the tiny sounds of faraway birds, the safety in their promise of song, the puddle forming finally after summer rain, the golden butterfly against the cave dark. Maybe there are angels here, too. What else can I call the crown of light atop the leaves? What else can I call my footsteps forward? Small, small. Sure? I love that. Um, let's see. She's the associate director of the University Honors Program at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. She teaches in the low residency MFA program at Converse University. Ellen Bass, who I read earlier, is also a professor at an MFA program. Okay, let's see. All right, we're going to read one more. Cooper, 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 Cooper. He came when I sang to him. Cooper, Cooper, such a sweet doggy. Cooper, Cooper. Yeah, I love that one too. I love that one too. Okay. How about did I say I was going to read? Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you, should I read Victoria Chang's Woman with a Bird or Carrie Fountain, You Belong to the World? Victoria Chang, unless somebody says differently. Thank you. I try. I really want to do another musical. Okay, Victoria Chang, Woman with a Bird. I have a prompt for you at the end of this one. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind to say that. Thank you. Okay, we're going to read Victoria. Victoria also received a Guggenheim Fellowship. She is the Byrne Chair in Poetry at Georgia Tech. I did not know that about her until just now. Okay, Woman with a Bird. A bald eagle called out to another as magpies attacked their nest. Someone called it romantic. I believed her. The magpies, the ferrymen, God, the poets, everything seemed romantic in Alaska, where people breathed out white birds. When I breathed, nothing came out. The eagles sat side by side, and I wondered why they stayed long after the magpies had gone. At first, I thought the eagle was watching me. Then I realized the eagle was my life watching me. The distance between my life and myself had become too far because of my desire to find a way out of my life. When that happens, our breath comes out elsewhere, as if each day I walked in a door but came out of another door. I wondered what country my breath came out in. When the male eagle finally flew off to a distant tree, the female didn't follow. I felt something in my body attach and heard a clicking noise. I felt something in my body I felt something in my body attach and heard a clicking noise. I had been holding my breath for decades while others painted me. In Alaska, my life was with me again, attached for now. I took photos of birds to remind myself that the unsettled feeling wasn't caused by me and could be solved by traveling somewhere cold. Yes, Em, I thought the same thing. The eagle was my life looking at me. And the prompt that I came up with for this one was to write about what appears when you are back in your life. And when Chang talks about coming back into her life and hearing that click, it reminds me of, if any of you have ever seen Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, I guess Cooper's seen it. And Brick talks about a click. He needed to hear a click. And when that click came, that everything would be okay. I can also relate to the I had been holding my breath for decades while others painted me. I also wrote a note. This is deeply contemplative poem. All right. So that is there's I see a group of people just came in, which could mean we're gonna need our moderators to do their thing. Um, so I'll go ahead and I'll read You Belong to the World, and that will be the last one. You Belong to the World is actually, I think it's the first poem in the book. Yes, it is. You Belong to the World. Are you ready? This is our closing poem. Listen carefully. Oh, hi, Dana. That was a line that hit with you also. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. It's good to see you, Dana. I had the joy of meeting Dana this week, so it's really nice to see you here in person. Or see you here live. You're not in person here. You're kind of live in person, but not. So You Belong to the World by Carrie Fountain. Her poems have appeared in Poetry Magazine, which is a great one, the American Poetry Review, the New Yorker. She is the poet. Oh, in 2019, she was a poet laureate of Texas, which is pretty cool. Love these state poet laureates. You belong to the world, as do your children, as does your husband. It's strange even now to understand that you are a mother and a wife, that these gifts were given to you and that you received them, fond as you've always been of declining invitations. You belong to the world. The hands that put a peach tree into the earth exactly where the last one died in the freeze belong to the world and will someday feed it again differently. Your body will become food again for something, just as it did so humorously when you became a mother. Hungry beings clamoring at your breast, born as they'd been with a bodily passion for survival that is our kind's one common feature. You belong to the world, animal. Deal with it. Even as the great abstractions come to take you away, the regrets, the distractions, you can at any second come back to the world to which you belong. The world you never left, won't ever leave, cells forever, forever going through their changes as they have been since you were less than anything. Simple information born inside your own mother's newborn body itself, made from the stuff your grandmother carried within hers. When at 12, she packed her belongings and left the Scottish island she'd known, all she'd ever known, on a ship bound for Ellis Island, carrying within her your mother, you, the great human future that dwells now inside the bodies of your children, the young, which, like you, belong to the world. That always amazes me to think um, that we all came from our mothers, each of us here, and we were also inside our grandmothers. And I get emotional. It just goes down the line. That's pretty powerful stuff. You belong to the world. You do belong to the world, Miss M. There's a reason that you were on this live stream today. And to think I almost didn't read that poem. To me, that's just really that infinite loop de loop of synchronicity, that calling, and that deep connection that comes with language and being seen and heard. You belong to the world. I hope you'll carry that with you, Miss M. I hope we all will. Whew. Thank you all so much for being here for poetry and prompts. Did I have a prompt for that one? No, I don't. But perhaps the prompt would be to think about how you belong to the world. And because you belong to that world, what kind of a contribution do you want to make to it? That could just be me, but I believe we all make a contribution to the world in our own way. All right. Now I get to bring George in, and then April hopefully forgive me. Thank you so much for being here this week. We hope to see you next week. We'll also be here tomorrow morning at 8:30, hopefully out on the deck, which is gorgeous. Even in the overcast, it's still pretty. And hopefully the dogs will be taking a nap. Doubtful, but maybe. Okay, thank you so much, and we will see you next time around. Bye now, everyone.